Hello, Shrewdness fans. Welcome to the show today. Lou and Chiz are joining me this week. Dex is at a hockey game. He may join in later. We'll see how long we go tonight.
He might be here right now. I want the most public pick ever. Okay, sorry.
Skull Vikes.
Skull Vikes.
Skull Vikes. Hawkinson's a Hall of Famer, I swear.
Tonight it's Skull Blues, I think.
Skull Blues.
Against the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
But alas, we're not here to talk about hockey. We are going to talk about Guillotine Fantasy Football. As we do every week here on the Shrewdness Podcast, your number one source of Guillotine Fantasy Football news.
The best
Let's get into
and only.
It. The best and only.
And only. So this is Lewis's first
time
back since he got his head chopped.
Yeah, I threw a temper tantrum last week. We all can move on past this and be okay.
we all. It's fine. Hey, I get it. We gave you a pass. We told everyone we understand. This is what happens. It's just the way it is. When you get your head chopped, it's the way it is. So
especially when you do everything that you feel right. Like I don't feel like after I had a bad draft with injuries, I don't feel like any one decision I made I couldn't justify.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
that's what kills me. Like part. I spent all my fab, I maneuvered, I did everything I could to push myself into a competitive spot, and then it was just like, everybody's gonna suck this week. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what happens. You go down. I mean, I have never gone down yet. Thank goodness, because I think it would really bother me. I've never gone down because I started the wrong guy, or like, oh my god, if I would have switched this guy with this guy. It's usually just my guys just crap out all at the same time. It's a bad week for everybody, and you're like, well, time's up. Doesn't feel any better,
I would say legitimately, I had one option, and my one option was to start MVS. If I had just randomly taken my worst starter and picked up MVS of all people, I would have saved my head. That was my only potential option.
I don't think that's feasible.
Not escape me.
I don't think that's a feasible option. I don't think
but
it was the one option I had that I didn't take.
There's no logical option that says take MVS and start him.
Right. It's kind of like anybody who would have gone ahead and started Taysom Hill this week would have been fine.
Taysom Hill repeatedly as a reasonable dart on a given week.
No, Taysom Hill is an incredibly reasonable sleeper. The problem is he could get 0 for you.
Exactly.
He will.
Hey, he just gets hurt. He's 34, and so he is absolutely easy to not play at all.
There's just there's a lot of candidates out there that are like Lewis and I were talking about before the show tonight. There's a lot of guys out there that will get you 4 points or they'll get you 24 points.
That's
There's
right.
Really nothing in between. So
that's right.
You're rolling the dice when you start a guy like that.
We started talking about at the very, very beginning of the season the high floor guys.
Yep.
And the high floor guys are the guys that are consistently going to deliver for you. You know you're going to get 12, 13, 14, 15 points on these guys every week you start them. And the reality is there's not that many.
Right.
There's just not that many that are consistently going to do that for you. Like this year, what is it? It's like
honestly, all you
like
have to do is
Saquon. It's
not even Saquon gets you 10 points every week. He had a couple of 8.8s and
it's Chase, Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts has been automatic.
Jalen Hurts, right? Josh Allen. But it's a real short list.
Josh Allen, trust me, as somebody who had Josh Allen, Josh Allen had this wonderful process of I will have a 1 point first half and then hang on to get 18 in the second half.
Yes.
And you're like, cool, that's great that you got me 18, but if you put together 2 18s, I'd have been fine, right?
Yeah.
It's the 1 plus the 18 that hurts. But you just look at it, you're right. It's Hurts, Kamara. Well, Pruitt had issues with Kamara. Godwin was great on average, but you don't get Godwin for very long, right? Nico Collins, great. Right. You don't get Nico Collins for very long. The next person on the average list, guess who it is? Guess who it is? Guess who it is? Guess who this is? My favorite God-blessed player in the game. T. Higgins. Yeah. T. Higgins will get you 18.5 points per game if he would ever play. But of course.
Yeah, but you're
F.T. Higgins.
Right? But I mean, you are forgetting like this Lamar, right? Mixon has been incredibly consistent.
Oh yeah, Mixon's had a really good year.
22 points a game. Burrow has been very consistent. Believe it or not, Baker's been very consistent this year.
All that being said, a lot of the people that you just named are not attainable, or
that's
conversely,
right,
on a bye, because we're in bipocalypse.
It is the worst of the
bipocalypse, and that's why
brutal.
This week, that's why we had a thought about, we're having some scheduling issues. Do we push this back? I don't think this was a push-backable week because it's bipocalypse, right?
It is.
People need all the help they can get.
This is a tough week. This is a really
this is a really odd week for me. I think this could be the week that I either fail or I jump to the top of my league. And I'll tell you why, is because I had 4 guys on bye last week. And I survived. And I was 3 yards away from having the top score in the league this last week.
With 4 guys on bye.
With 4 guys. I had Baker, Rashad White, Marvin Harrison, and McBride on bye. And I was 3 yards away from having the top score. I had 140 points.
That's a huge
Thank you,
week.
Brock Bowers, for joining my team.
Right?
But
13 catches.
I got all those guys post bye now. I got a bunch of studs, and McCaffrey, Hurts, and AJ Brown are on the chop team this week. So they're all up for bid this week. And I've got
McCaffrey
second highest fab dollars.
And AJ?
Yes. So I'm thinking about pushing all the chips in, trying to get both of those guys, and then I'm happy with Jaden Daniels and Baker as my 2 quarterbacks. So.
Dexter's not here, so I can
be a little bit week.
Full disclosure. I've had a lot of thoughts this week because I've been consultation on one of my friends who's still live in the same league that we were in. So I've been really thinking about it. I think this week you really try this week over any other week to try to not get too aggressive with the fab dollars.
Tell me more.
Here's my thought by this. You have 6 teams on bye. Everybody else is panicking. Now, you may be panicking. This is true because I don't know your team. But you're still alive. And my guess is that you're like Pruitt. A lot of people are like Pruitt who are like, oh, I got through a bad bye week over the past couple weeks, and now I've kind of stabilized. As long as you are that guy, you can take this week and just be like, there are 6 God-blessed teams on bye. One of them is the Jaguars. That doesn't really count. Is there a viable fantasy starter on the Jaguars?
Not right now.
No, none. So there's 5 teams on bye this week that totally matter, right?
Right.
But the Jets have a ton of like legitimate people that people are like trying to use. There's even a few Saints that people might try to use. Not many, but the Bengals have like a whole A-load of these people, right? And so there's a bunch of people who are going to be scrambling, and they're going to be throwing their fab dollars out there to try to like grasp and claw for what's out there to make sure that they're okay this week. If you feel like you have a reasonably stable week, let them burn their dollars. Maybe put out some like confidence bids to make sure nobody gets anybody for free. But I think this is the week, because you have 6 teams on bye. If you are in a position of any strength whatsoever, you try not to burn too much fab dollars. And this is my take on this week.
Yeah, I could see that. Because I think you're right. This is it's very similar to how you think about the stock market: buy high, sell low, right? And right now, prices are going to be high because demand is high. And
every week that goes by, your fab dollars are worth more money.
Right.
Your dollar valuation increases each week. In 3 or 4 weeks, $2 can be the difference between you winning the whole thing and losing. I'm not even joking for how important even like $2 is over any other thing. So I think you have to be careful. And I think you have to do a lot of like something like what Pruitt would do, where you're like, I think I am not going to spend more than 40% of my remaining fab dollars and no more than 10% on any one player. Like you start getting all kind of like wackadoodle on your like numbers, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, engineer dude. I gotta
go back and watch old episodes. I'm pretty sure I didn't say it like that, but
yeah, it's pretty close. I think it was like damn near like word for word that kind of crap this guy like hyper right brain dude. But
well, out of the three of us, who's still alive in their league?
The guy who spends 10% per player.
Excellent comeback. Excellent comeback.
Who scored Marvin Harrison for $12 in week 2?
Right.
I think my point's valid. I stand on my point.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, I agree. So I don't necessarily disagree, Lou. The thing that's holding me like on the fence here is that CMC is available, and we have like 2 tiers of fab dollars remaining. We have teams with less than 290. We have my team at 420 something, and we have one other team at 530 something. So there's 2 teams that have a huge advantage this week to score arguably the top quarterback because he's already had his bye. The top one of the top 3 or 4 receivers. And
you have an insane amount of fab in your league compared to what we have. People have been way more aggressive with their fab dollars in my league. And my point is, I am shocked that you have that much fab in general. But if you and maybe one other person are sitting at real fab dollars, you guys are the poker. I don't know. I always heard this term, chip whippers. You can just absolutely dominate people. It's like, oh, I want this person. Yeah, too bad. I can take a quarter of my chips and throw it at that person, and you can never have them.
So that's my point. Is I can go 290 on McCaffrey, and I can outbid 4 of the teams.
You have 5 more weeks, man. Do you think you're out this week?
No, but I think starting Kamara.
You don't have 5 more weeks. You have till week 14.
You have 3 more weeks to use your fab dollars. And starting Barkley, Kamara, and CMC every week, I think guarantees me to go at least a few more weeks.
Right. So why use it this week? Because I'm telling you, you're going to have some freaking all-star teams go in the next couple of weeks. As aggressively as you cannot spend fab dollars, I hate to be like the party line guy that Church tends to do. And CMC is an end game player, and you can absolutely do that. I would be careful. I would be absolutely careful going too hard, especially on a bipocalypse week where there are a lot of people throwing a lot of money around and a lot of fab's going to go out of there. If you can get through the bye week without spending too much money, this is the week that I would try to practice some caution.
So here's a question for you guys.
I got to think about that. So
here's a question for you guys. When you talk about in-game, you talk about in-game players. We like to talk about in-game players a lot. Who do you classify as in-game in your wide receivers?
So I hate to be the guy who just jumps in here, but I try to look. I think I know who I think I know. What I'm so smart. Yeah, you guys have heard, anybody who actually listens to our podcast, I suck. I don't know who's good. I don't know who's not good. So I try to go out and find real experts. And I look at their lists and say, okay, I don't know what's going on. What do they think, right? And I really think that you've got to be looking to try to have as many WR 1 through 8s, RB 1 through 8s, and tight end 1 through 8s, QB 1 through 4s, so that you are positioning yourself based upon what other people think that are smart and spend a lot of time on this stuff. You want to have as many of those numbered players in your process as you can, so that you are at least positioned to have the most competitive team you can. Right. So like right now, Kittle is available. He is tight end 4. Now he's a little bit banged up. Is he going to play this week? I don't know. I think tight end 4 barely qualifies him as true end game, right? Based upon what I am seeing as what people would tend to predict these people as being. And that's what I consider end game. But I don't have like
so
my
you would
own
say
list.
You would say top 8. So if we're
4
on the
position
fly here,
players, like 4 for QB, 4 for tight end, 8 for the other folks.
Because you're saying, Lou, you're saying basically that you want to be in that final 4 teams, right?
Yeah.
You want to survive. So, and you would expect the top 4 teams are going to have
luck. Everything else is luck, but you want to have your best shot. You don't want to be running wide receiver 15 in the final 4. You can, and wide receiver 15 can put up wide receiver 1 numbers, but you want the best option, the best predictions using the smartest people's numbers out there. And so right now, if somebody is outside of those metrics, don't bid on them at all. Don't bid a dollar on them, right? Don't even unless you just think like, God, I got to have this person to survive this week. And if you do, you're probably not going to win your whole league. Like you might get lucky, or let's say you're in Bipocalypse here. And I just got to get through this week because Bipocalypse will fix itself next week and I'll be back into where I need to be. I have Jamar Chase. And I don't have Jamar Chase this week. And he is obviously going to be a wide receiver 1 for the entire everything. I just got to get through this week. Yeah, spend your $5. Which, again, brings me back to the whole, why would you, butt heads with people who are trying to survive?
Yeah.
Right? They're, trying to improve their team for this week to get through the 6 teams on bye.
So you bring up a great point because one of the teams in my league has – like I said, went out this week that had Hurts and AJ Brown. There's another team that has Burrow and Chase, so they are hurting this week, right? Ooh. They have a lot of points to replace, and so those 2 could easily become available next week.
I think you're right, and the way I'm thinking about it,
they're going to dump their fab to get the replacements.
Yeah,
in my other league, I am the chip whipper. Right, I have 475 fab dollars left. The next guy has 175. So I have, for instance, I'm easily going to get through this week. Lou, to your point, am I going to get through this week? Yeah, I'm not worried. I've got a good team. But AJ Brown's available, so AJ Brown's in game. So I'm like 176 for AJ Brown. 176 gives me AJ Brown. I feel pretty good about spending 176 for AJ Brown, and I got a top 3 wide out to take me to the end game. So you do got to think about that as you're thinking about what do I want to spend on. Don't overspend on guys that are not end game guys this week because the prices will be inflated.
This is the worst week to try to I spent a lot of time counseling somebody who's still alive, who's not me, who's still kind of going, where he was like, yeah, but I could get this guy and this guy. And I'm like, yeah, but you it's probably better if you put in these kind of bids. And I gave him the numbers that I personally felt would be good bids. And you hope you lose them all.
Yes.
Right. Because then that means that people were throwing all their chips into the table on week 12. Right. There's still 5 more weeks.
Yeah.
If they throw all their chips in, you lose all this, they survive this week, and you are now the prohibitive chip whipper with only a couple weeks left. You're going to be buying Jamar Chase for $15 and giggling at everybody. I'm not exaggerating, especially next week when Jamar Chase is going to be available in a lot of leagues. Just be aware of that. Yeah, that's right. Everybody who banked on him to get them this far, me, Josh Allen, I banked on him to get me this far. And guess what? Josh Allen's going to be available in a lot of leagues next week because that's right. Not available. You were counting on him and you did not plan accordingly. So
that's right.
Yeah, no, somebody's going out each week. Yeah, somebody's going out each week, and everybody left has a top 8 quarterback.
I would say that I think you are being aggressive with AJ Brown. If I had to give you counsel,
really?
I don't think you need to, if somebody else is buying A.J. Brown because they're scared they're going out in Apocalypse Week, I just think that's fine. Let them burn all their fab trying to get. I think it's fine because.
But is A.J. Brown in game?
He is, but at the same time, this is the week where if you're burning a lot because you are trying to be safe, I think that's the kind of A.J. Brown will be available again in a couple weeks. It's the kind of thing where somebody is. I would be careful that you don't want to get caught betting 174 and the next person is not there.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to look. Each league is going to be relatively unique, and it's going to have a lot of unique dynamics based upon who has the money, what their rosters look like.
Yeah, that's right. You got to look at what their needs are too.
My point being is that 174 might be fine, but you might also want to look at just being a little more razor thin. And if you lost him and somebody just spent, and look at the percentages, because I think that actually matters. I hate to be going back and making myself sound like a douche, but Pruitt's numbers are probably right. There are a lot of people who look at okay, I can afford to spend 30% of my fab or something like that. And you can look and see what does 30% or 40% or 50% of that fab look like for somebody else. And somebody may be like, I don't think that's worth it. Anybody who blows their load this week is trying to get through week 12 because they planned poorly. The Eds of the world who drafted 7 people on week 12, right? Right? So, there are people who are going to burning a lot more than you think they're going to burn, and that may not get you A.J. Brown, but you also need to be yay, that's the best news possible. Somebody just burned all the rest of their fab. I'm probably fine. I think that you need to start looking at the aggressive push over the next 2 weeks when you're at 13-14 and you are really finalizing end game. I do think A.J. Brown's end game. Again, I would always make sure you use those numbers 1 through 8 for running back, wide receiver, 1 through 4 for tight end, and for quarterback. And as long as you're getting those kind of numbers, you're fine being a little more aggressive. If it's somebody outside of that, you got to really ask yourself, is this just getting me through the week? Well, maybe that's what you need because you had a bipocalypse problem, but otherwise, back off. Let other people spend their fab. You've got 2 weeks to try to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a very interesting week.
Let's move along to our
Shrewdness
Sleepers. Sleeper.
So I'm on a heater, boys.
How did we do last week, Prue, on our sleepers?
I don't have all of them listed down. I didn't write them all down. Dex usually has all that, but I know who I picked. And I hit my 5th one in a row.
Nice.
So I had Quentin Johnston last week.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And he did not exactly, completely light it up, but he did score above our average. He got 12.8 points, I believe.
I did not hit mine. I was blinded by the Golden Dome yet again, and I chose Audric Estime, who I was convinced was going to be the RB1 coming out of the week before.
Chisholm, you had what was everybody Audric Estime is the new person. Drop all your fab on him. And Javonte Williams did an 18-pointer. He chopped my head off, and then it was fine the next week.
Right. Totally. So that is what happened to me. I did not. I thought I had read it right. I thought he was the guy. They were playing a Atlanta team. I thought they would boat race, and they did. When we get to our picks, you will see. But I missed. And Dexter bet on someone. I can't remember who, but his hit. We were 2 for 3 this week. And this week...
I had a temper tantrum.
And Lou is missing. But this week we've got some new ones for you. So
all right, we've decided 50% is our number this week because we looked at the 50% or less, and then it's as bizarre as it sounds, right? It sounds how can I possibly get? If you are looking at this list, and we have talked about it already, if you are getting 50% or less, this is the kind of names you're getting. Of course, when I do this, okay. The highest number is Rico Dowdle, running back 1 for the Cowboys. That's a reasonable pick. Is he great? No, he's RB1 for it's a reasonable pick, right? Jared Goff is 48.3% down ballot MVP candidate, right? Jordan Love, Jalen Waddle, who was probably a second-round pick at the beginning of the year. Like, these are real players. We're going to have options to pick. And they're all owned in 50% or less of the leagues available. So that's our current projection, and we're going to make our picks. And I'm going to start with Pruitt.
Yeah, so one more point to add on to that, Lou. So now we're kind of to the point where your roster sizes and the number of teams left are ratcheting up those percentages, right? And why we're picking 50% this week is that you just don't have a lot of place on your roster to store people.
Yeah, you can't store anybody.
There's only 7 teams left, so there's just limited amount of players that can be taken.
We feel that this is a good dart because you want to try to win your week and be safe and stable. So you're gonna not start one of your people who you think, and you're gonna take one of our guys, right? That you probably have access to.
And what's our target number this week?
50% or less. I think it's
I'm sorry.
Points.
Our target for points.
Oh, I would. I love the historic. Although this last week in our league, in our primary league, holy McHannah, the cut line was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was 100 points. It was over.
Crazy.
So you got to remember, anything we tell you is always mitigated by the fact that it's always averages. Yeah, this week it should be 100 points. You need 100 points. So 100 divided by 8 we're like 12 and a half, right? My brain?
That's right.
Yeah, 12 and a half. You need 12 and a half. 12 and a half is basically you need a touchdown or a ton of catches. 12 and a half per person. You need your quarterback to not suck, and you need everybody to be on point. You need 100 points, and I think 100 points is a soft number. You need better than 100 points. You probably are looking at 110. So I would really want, ideally, more like 14, but 12 and a half. We're trying to pick people who are going to get you 12 and a half points. That's
going to be our success criteria. We've done really well on our hit rate this year on this. So we're pretty proud of the sleeper picks. So Dog, do you have your sleeper pick lined up?
Yep. So it's getting harder and harder to find somebody that's going to get you more and more points as we go here. But I'm going to go with Jaden Waddle against New England this week.
Nice.
He's not scored well most of this year. They do have Tua back. They're starting to get Tyreek involved a little more. I saw he had a touchdown this week. But New England's, not a great team, and I think Miami may feed Waddle a little more this week.
The irony of Waddle being that available with how high most people picked him at the beginning of the year. Also remember, if you are safe because you picked Jalen Waddle, you have super bragging rights over the a-hole who dropped him.
Right.
Don't forget that piece of it.
That's right.
For sure.
All right. Here's the funny part. I might have been throwing a temper tantrum last week. This may or may not be true.
Maybe.
I was also working very hard in my own defense. But what I will say is that I had no idea that Pruitt took Quentin Johnston last week. I'm taking Quentin Johnston this week.
Okay.
Quentin Johnston is a perfect selection this week if you want to throw a dart and really try to be safe when you have a questionable 8th starter. Quentin Johnston is only owned in 30.8% of leagues, and he is on a up-and-coming Los Angeles Chargers offense. Is there anybody who would disagree with that statement?
No. That's true.
Exactly. And they're facing the Baltimore Ravens defense. Is anybody comfortable with their pass defense right now?
Ooh,
Pretty miserable.
They have been
does not look like
a
the Ravens of old.
ridiculous amount of pass yards. Yeah, they've been actually stopping the run, but as passes go, the people they've been allowing the biggest yards to are the deep threats. Everything screams this is Quentin Johnston's week. Not only would I take him as my sleeper, he would be a great individual betting yardage, anytime touchdown. Love this guy as my option this week.
I like it. Pruitt, you and I were thinking along the same lines. But I went.
Steal your pick?
No. But you stole my team, so I am going with Mr. Jonnu Smith, tight end for the Dolphins. I like going up against New England. He started
Did you hear about his touchdown last week?
No, what about it?
Which one? He had 2, didn't he?
He scored a touchdown randomly, and I watched his touchdowns. He just randomly grabbed the ball, chucked it into the stands. Guess who caught it?
Who?
Family member.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Randomly. If you watch him throw the ball, there's no way it was done intentionally. He did one of those like, and he's like chucks it really hard into the stands. Family member caught it. Literally happened. Yeah.
Well, he's available in 30. Well, he's only owned in 32% of leagues, so he's available in 68% of leagues. You got a good chance at him. I feel like I like the Miami-New England matchup. Like Pruitt said, I think there's going to be some points to be had there. So if you're looking for a tight end and you don't have one of the top 4, I like the matchup. I'd take a flyer on Mr. Jonnu Smith. Lock him up.
Don't forget, there's a lot of tight ends that aren't playing this week.
That's right.
Surprisingly, it's like not a great tight end by Apocalypse.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, Dalton Kincaid's hurt.
Yeah, nobody was relying on Dalton Kincaid. Nobody's relying on a New Orleans tight end unless you were doing the crazy 34-year-old Yahoo. Yeah, Taysom Hill nonsense.
Right.
There's no tight end on the Bengals that anybody was particularly interested in, right?
What about Mike Gesicki?
Yeah, exactly. Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki and T. Higgins are basically the same slot in that offense. So once T. Higgins is available, Mike Gesicki's value drops precipitously.
Yeah, they're like, might as well just stand here and block for a while.
The second T. Higgins is out, Gesicki is absolutely viable to play. Just got to remember that as a T. Higgins former owner, I'm used to it. Yeah. All right, and then who else was on by? The Jets. Are you Jets super stoked about Conklin?
Nope.
Not anymore.
And then the Jags, I guess Ingram. Ingram actually is top 6, but I don't know, man. I would be that whole offense. The Jags at this point.
You lost me at Jags.
Exactly. I was just talking with Pruitt before the pre-production for the Shrewdness listeners who are part of the Patreon. We were talking about this, and honestly, it's is there a Jags starter at all right now that you would be happy to start in Guillotine?
No.
Brian Thomas is the closest, but I still don't think I would start anybody because it's Mac freaking Jones.
Yeah.
You're truly just rolling dice if that's where you are right now.
They also, I think I looked at the last 4 or 5 games that they play are against pretty tough opponents, so I don't feel like they're going to go nuts on scoring.
Their coach is probably going to get fired. Everything is a disaster. Why would you get caught in a single... Ingram, I guess, probably is the guy that you might take a chance on, but
maybe
I'm anxious. I'm anxious as hell.
Maybe.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'll go with McBride and Bowers.
Yeah, I'm rolling
double tight ends from now on.
Exactly. So that one is probably the weakest of the bye candidates. But I just kind of looking through Pitts again. He's another tight end. Anybody super excited about starting Pitts this week? Or obviously not this week because that'd be a bad idea. But in general, were you counting on Pitts? If you were, Like, I'm not particularly excited about your chances in this whole thing. Like, Pitts is boom or bust, kind of a disaster. Like, you just don't like mess with Pitts.
I want no part of Pitts.
Right? Exactly. So, like, the tight end position for the bye week is not like it's like a non-premium bye week, even though there's 6 teams on bye. Nobody really cares except for maybe Evan Ingram, and even then, I'm a little bit dicey on that.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So
everything else has
Jonnu Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Quentin Johnston are your
My whole point is Jonnu Smith is a legit play this week.
Yeah.
So now let's go to Spuds.
All right. Shrewdness Spuds. Who are the guys that you probably are starting every week, but may want to consider?
What's our percent criteria on this week?
I
think we did 80 plus or something last week, right?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Well,
so
80 plus?
I'll tell you.
Oh my God, there's not many 80 plus. There's only at this point. It's because 7 people.
It's because Fab hasn't run yet, so go to 70.
Right. I thank you, because like 8 people, one of 8 people makes it a little bit on the tough side.
So I'll go first on the Spuds, and this one I've been studying this one a lot because he's actually available in my league.
Did you pick one? Did we want to recap last week's Spuds?
Oh yeah. Okay.
I know I hit mine.
We hit on all of them. We were 3 for 3 on our Spuds this last week. I don't remember who Dexter picked.
So for those keeping score at home, that's 7 for 7 the last 2 weeks.
Yes, on Spuds. So pay attention on this part. I know you're not going to like it. No one ever likes to hear it because you're like, this is a guy that you've been riding, and they're going to do great.
You've been starting. We just feel that this is a bad play.
But I will tell you, my Spud this week, and I've been watching him, and he's available in my league, and that's the thing that's interesting is, he's sitting there. He is probably an end-game guy, and I'm going to call him a Spud this week, and it's Mr. Derrick Henry.
Oh, that was mine, Chisholm.
Well, now it's mine.
Dang it! I already had him written down.
Why, if you look at Derrick Henry's output for the last 2 weeks, he has been on a steady decline, and he had 68 yards in week 10 and a touchdown, and then he had 65 yards against Pittsburgh and a touchdown, and now he's going against the Chargers in LA. So he's flying across the country in LA. He's older back. He's had a lot of tread on the tires this year, and I don't know what to do if you have Derrick Henry. Honestly, my advice if you have Derrick Henry is trade. If I could trade Derrick Henry,
you may or may not have that option. This is like
I know it's late in the game, but he's got a week 14 bye, so he's not going to be he's not worth as much to you right now as you think he is.
Well,
and he looks like he may be tired.
The person you're trading with is not a Shrewdness.
That's right.
Listener, because
that's right.
Most of us would say that's a pre-buy asset. I ain't trading.
It is a pre-buy. It is a pre-buy asset, but people get ridiculous when they see guys with names like Derrick Henry that have been around for a long time.
If you can do it, do it.
I think you can find that guy in your league and pull it off, and I'd do it because I think.
Chisholm, you were talking about in one of your leagues. You were like, "Hey, Derrick Henry's available. What's your thought, Lewis?"
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said spend all your fab.
Derrick Henry's usage for the last few years at the end of the year with his advancing age and people's desire to have him available in the playoffs and his injury history. My memory says that this guy, this is the point in the season where he tends to have a slowdown. And I am very anxious about Derrick Henry, completely separate from anything you just said. I had already said this to you earlier. I already was concerned about him. So the fact that you're saying this, I completely agree. It wasn't my pick, but I completely agree.
Yeah, I'm worried about him.
But then again, I thought he was going to suck this year, and I didn't pick him in the first round, so F me, right?
Hey,
I don't think anybody knew he was going to be this good.
I passed
no
as
one
well.
thought this. All right, I'll give Chisholm a chance to recover and catch his breath after he screwed up and took the wrong person. Yeah. Well, you made my job easy. You said 70% or greater, right? Right? It's super easy, right? Guess who my person is? One deleterious Kaetarius Metcalf. No chance will I ever say this guy has a thing. Get ready for DK Metcalf to have 1 million points. Don't get me wrong. But DK Metcalf versus the Arizona Cardinals, no chance will I ever pick this guy in this spot. Arizona's on the comeuppance, and I don't believe at all in the Seattle Seahawks. I think that they are actually going to miss the playoffs myself. So I think if I had to pick and I get my 70% criteria, can't stand the guy. He's boom or bust. I predict bust this week. He's going to have 50 points, so start him.
I like it. I think he is a guy who's prone to that sort of a thing.
Ugh.
And
my friend said, should I try for DK Metcalf this week over my dead body? No chance.
DK is a guy who gives you indigestion. He just does. It's just
not worth it. It's not worth it with DK. It's great. You'll win a week or be safe for 1 week, and then you'll have 4 weeks of just absolute pain and suffering.
Yeah,
it's not worth it, people. Let him go. Right. Let somebody else have him. He's candy for somebody else.
Agree. So, Padog, since I stole yours, have you had a second to recover?
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple. The one I've got that I'm leaning toward right now is George Pickens.
I love that pick. It was my next pick. If I had not picked mine, that's who I'd have picked.
He's owned in 72.8% of leagues. So 3 out of 4 leagues, he's getting a solid start, most weeks. They play at Cleveland this week. Cleveland's got a tough defense. They got a better offense, I think, with
divisional matchup. Don't ever forget divisional matchup. Thursday night divisional matchup.
You know what I say. Crap. You know what I say on divisional unders all day, baby.
It's a divisional under, and it's on Thursday.
Night. Now, again, there was a Baltimore Cincinnati divisional matchup on a Thursday night that had a bazillion points and sunk my whole season. I totally get this. That was the exception, not the rule.
True.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So mark it down. George Pickens will not score the 15 points that he's supposed to score this week. He'll be lucky to get you 10.
I like it. Excellent. So you now have our Shrewdness Sleepers.
Hurrah.
And our Shrewdness Spuds. And now we're going to roll into gambling picks. Dex, I think, is getting ready to come on. So he is probably getting his pick ready. But
let's
talk about how we do.
Public pick I can take. Go Chiefs.
Let's see if he does this. Don't give it away, Lewis. Let's see if he actually does it.
He won't do it because I've locked out all the Chiefs picks. I know that. Let's see if I can predict. Hang on. Can I predict the most public pick he will make?
Yes.
Let's see. Can I do this? Hang on. Let me pull up the schedule. Nail it. Let's see. What's the most public game for Week 12?
See if you can nail it.
All right. Hang on. He's going to say the game that makes the most sense for him to pick is the Lions to beat the Colts by whatever God-blessed number that there is. He's going to take – that is the absolute most public pick. Lions just won by a bazillion. The Colts are questionable. The Lions are going to absolutely
That's right.
blah, blah, blah. Okay,
That's
cool.
right. So
Here it comes.
Before we go into that, let's look at our records, Prue. Again, I believe we were 2-2 this week, right? We were 2-2 this week.
I had it pulled up and I turned it off. Hang on. 2-2.
By the way, can I tell you how
had...
excited I am for what's about to happen? It's like
Welcome,
I'm like a 14 out of 10 on how excited I am for this.
Welcome, Dex. I saw saw your pathetic Minnesota Wild beat my 4-2. St. Louis Blues 4-2 tonight.
Got the empty netter at the end.
That's 28-14 for real Americans.
Right. To be clear, though, it was 1-1 going into the third.
It was.
So it was a competitive skate.
It's pretty fun.
All right, let me rehash last week's picks real quick. So, Dex, we won't put you on the spot, but if you got a sleeper and a spud, we'll circle back to that in a minute.
All right.
But last week on picks, I hit on Pittsburgh. That was a great game. They ended up beating Lamar and company. Chisholm correctly called Denver, and we laddered that thing.
I did. And
I called without knowing what you guys had picked. I called later in the week Denver. I did.
Hey, could you stop with the stolen valor? Who called it first?
No, you called it first, but I didn't even know you had called it, and then I confirmed that that's what I wanted. I wish I had gotten that on there. And we laddered it up to minus 6.5, and you could have laddered a minus 14 and been like golden.
Yeah.
I know. So we went 2-0.
It's the only thing that saved my whole butt whole weekend.
And then Dexter and Lewis, who I affectionately refer to as Millstone and Boulder, were collectively holding us down for the season.
I told you, the immovable object, the unstoppable force. I made Caleb Williams good again.
Well, you weren't wrong about Green Bay continuing their winning streak.
They won.
By enough.
They won.
You were not. They won.
We won the teaser, Chisholm. Shut up.
We did win the teaser.
That's 2 in a row, Teaserville. Just
put
more money on the teaser.
I was totally on board with Lewis's Cincinnati pick. I thought they would show better than that. And
apparently, I didn't watch the game because I had to work. But man, it apparently sounds like they really almost kind of did the thing.
They made a run.
Yeah,
they made a run. I mean, the game was dead in the water at halftime, and I actually live lined. I took points on the Bengals plus 12 in the second quarter because I was like, they ain't going out like this, and they didn't. I mean, the one thing I will say about Joe Burrow, the dude never quits, and he's gonna make a run, and he did, but they just didn't have enough to get him over the hump.
Okay, I heard a great analogy. He's Dan Marino.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who wants to argue with Joe Burrow, Dan Marino? I'm sorry. Shrewdness listeners. Dan Marino was a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins in the 80s, and that guy threw for a bazillion yards. He was absolutely amazing, and he won exactly dick. All right?
Yeah.
He was easily my favorite quarterback on Super Tecmo.
Yeah.
He got
was
excellent.
Incredible.
He threw this super quick little super high arc, but then it dove into the
between him and Warren Moon. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything that has to refer to Super Tecmo will move the needle with the Shrewdness crew. All right,
it should absolutely.
Yeah, you can have some absolute loser from the '90s, but he played in Super Tecmo Bowl. We're like, hey, he's probably a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. So here's a question for you then:
if you want
to do Marino is Burrow, Burrow is Marino. Who is Allen?
Well,
that's right. You say Allen. Who do you mean with Allen? There's lots of Allens in NFL history.
Josh Allen.
Who is Josh Allen?
Randall Cunningham, maybe?
He's Elway. He's Elway without the trophies.
Oh. Cunningham runs more, though.
Yeah.
Elway didn't run that much, really. Steve Young's probably closer.
Elway ran the hell out of the ball, and you apparently didn't watch football.
No.
Elway ran the hell out of the ball.
Check his stats the hell out of the ball, and then look at Josh Allen. No, they are not.
All I know is Josh Allen John Elway ran a lot against the Chiefs. It seemed to be at the worst.
But the only one I remember running like that is Steve Young. Steve Young's the only one that ran like that back in the day. They could also throw.
Cunningham.
Well, I know, but you didn't like Cunningham, so I'm going to the other one. God. I mean, the thing is, I think...
Okay, just taking a quick look here. Freaking John Elway ran for 3,400 yards in his career and averaged 4.4 yards per carry.
Josh Allen did that the first 3 years.
I got you. We're dealing with a different kind of football.
I know.
That's
my whole point.
But I'm just saying,
Wait,
John Elway.
Are you saying Josh Allen ran for 1,000 yards a season?
He got like 600 or 700 a season. That's not that far off.
Than 1,000.
Well, he's not Lamar. Lamar actually, I think, did get close to 1,000, if not.
Yeah.
Actually, Lamar baby Cunningham.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Vick.
Vic, that's a good comp.
I think Vic is closer to like a Kyler Murray or something where he's
holy
just ultra
shnikes, McFudge balls. How many yards has Josh Allen rushed for in his career?
I'm really excied now, though, with that intro.
Thanks.
Okay,
that sounded like Effect 5
John
right
Elway,
there.
John Elway ran for 4,000-ish, right?
Well, he went 3,400. He just added 600.
Okay, cool. Fine. How much has Josh Allen run for in his career? Pruitt, go. Guess.
How long has he played?
It's like
6,
season
7
8,
years?
right? 7 or 8?
I'm going to say
2018 to 2024.
So season
we
7.
Have
6
1,
years.
2, 3, 4, 5,
7
6,
times
7,
6, 4,200.
I will
6
say
and a half,
4,200.
whatever.
I'll say less than that. I'll say 3,700.
3,400.
4,000.
He
Name
has
that
rushed for.
It should be right there. Ask the Google Map computer.
Didn't you just look this up?
2,500.
Huh.
2,500. Yeah. Okay.
How many has Patrick Mahomes rushed for, Google?
How many of those have been on 4th and 7 when
Yeah,
he
and getting like
gets the
40
first down
yards.
anyway?
But he's done this in like half of the seasons.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Screw you, Dex. It's not even a bad comp then. Jiminy Christmas.
That's actually a pretty good comp. Lewis, you're like right on it.
I looked at the passing yards, and that's what like freaked me out. And I thought he had those rushing. Yeah, my brain just completely melted. I'm like, oh my god, he rushed for 25,000 yards in 8 seasons. Oh my god,
unbelievable.
He's better than Jim Brown.
Guess how many yards?
What?
It's only for
Rushing
the
yards?
Patreon listeners.
Patrick Mahomes.
Guess how many
yards?
rushing yards Patrick Mahomes has. Don't look it up, Lewis. I hear you typing. I know
too
what you're
late.
doing. Don't look it up.
There's all kinds of clacky clickies.
So he's played one more year
Yeah.
than Josh Allen, right?
He's 7.5 years.
I'll say 2,900.
So for who?
Mahomes.
Patty.
In like that
7
he's
years.
rushed?
Rushing yards in 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that much.
Yeah, that's what rushing yards
I
means.
think
Probably not.
I know. I think it's like probably half that. I think he does like a couple hundred a year. So what's a couple hundred times 7? 1,400.
Okay. Lewis?
I know.
How do you know? Did you look that
Yeah,
up?
I
too?
know, because I heard
looked
you
it up.
clickety.
I
clickety-clack
clickety-clack.
it,
I
clickety-clack
know.
Well, now you're gonna get like
And I'm
28,000 again.
I'm trying to figure out the other part of this statistic that should be. Give me just a second, and I can like fix your nonsense, Chisholm.
It's
So what's the-
2,100 yards.
2,100. Okay.
2,100 yards. So he
Which is
averages
300
over a season 337 yards rushing.
That's more than I thought.
And
Don't forget, he has lost. I'm not going to pull up the number. The amount of yards he has lost on kneel downs is substantial. Like, we are talking like he has elite rushing numbers. If one just were to add back in stupid kneel downs that are completely, they don't really count, but they take off his rushing yards.
They kill your average.
That's
right. And plus, he dances backwards for 3 yards and then kneels down. He doesn't just go straight down.
right? Oh, and guess how many yards? Okay, so that means Patty averages 19.8 yards a game rushing. In the playoffs, he averages 29 yards a game rushing.
That sounds about right.
So 10 more yards a game
rushing. You got to remember he did have the immaculate
playoffs.
run or whatever. Like, it's probably not as great as it sounds, but remember that was like a 50-yard run.
That's pretty stinking good for a quarterback.
No,
yep.
Well, he's
that's a pretty.
Okay, hold up. Patrick Mahomes, Hall of Famer or not? Okay, we can just move on.
Dude. All right, I got a sleeper and a spud.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just cut and edit and paste it in there.
Since the last 30 minutes has been largely edited at this point.
This is Patreon. Patreon.
Well, actually, I don't know if you guys took one of these, so we might be doing a really quick edit. So sleeper pick.
All right.
I like him again. Quentin Johnston, Chargers versus Baltimore.
That's who Lewis took.
All right.
Already taken.
And I like Zach Ertz, tight end, home against Dallas.
Zach Ertz is a good one.
So for all those tight ends that'll be out on this,
that Zach Ertz would get 5 or more catches.
Well, right? I think he's going to get that for sure. I mean, that's a great prop bet.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And 4 in one drive.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Which the irony was, thank God that happened and our hearts were broken because I had to kneel down that ate my soul after that.
Yeah,
1 yard.
Yeah.
So I like it. So I'm going Zach Ertz in. So Quentin Johnson, excellent pick, Lewis, excellent. And I think Zach Ertz is going to be another one that does really well.
Then we have a duo of Miami Dolphins, Jonnu Smith and Jalen Waddle.
Woof. Yep. Waddle, huh? Who's losing that one this week? That sounds like a Padog pick.
I've hit 5 in a row, biatch.
That sounds like a Gasicki over 3.5 pick. That's what that sounds like.
I'm staying away from tight ends this week. I screwed myself on tight ends last week.
Yeah, I think we're feeling a little burned on tight ends, actually. Over the last
week. If they would stop getting concussed and if you'd stop betting against them. Yeah. All right, here's my spud. Here's my spud. And it's not going to be – no one's going to bench him anyway, and I don't care. But I think he's going to suck this week, and he's going to be like a 10 to 12 guy that's projected for I think 25 or something.
Are we going 3 for 3?
Joe Mixon, spud.
Oh!
I think he's going to be a spud this week. And why do you say that? Because he's going against the Tennessee defense, who is way better than people give him credit for. Kicked Aaron Jones's Julio last week, and when the Vikings played him. And now Mixon's going in.
Oh, that's where this is coming from.
No. It's not. It's everybody. It's every single team that Tennessee plays.
The Vikings are all be in the Hall of Fame.
Sigh. Listen, Tennessee is crushing people, and they're stopping the run. And the thing is, Houston might get out fast.
They have a good defense. I'm not even arguing with your pick. I just love that you use the Minnesota Vikings as your it's Sam Darnold.
Well, it was supposed to be a blowout rollover, right? It's supposed to be a blowout rollover for that team.
Yeah, we have Sam Darnold sucking all kinds of.
But Aaron Jones doesn't, and the Vikings offensive line doesn't. Hawkinson doesn't, and Jefferson doesn't. They have a lot of good talent, and Tennessee shut them down. And Houston is not them. I don't care.
Tennessee is good. I'm not going to
argue. You can drum Dallas all day long and feel good about yourself. Like, I am pretty. Look how pretty I am. I'd be Dallas. Who cares? Everybody's pretty when you play Dallas.
The amount of how much I'm fading Minnesota when it comes to the playoffs, I am just drool, just coming down my mouth. Come on, I can't wait to go against Minnesota in the playoffs. They are vastly overvalued right now, but that's cool.
So Joe Mixon.
All right, and back to Joe Mixon, who's going to be a spud this week. You're going to start him because he's Joe Mixon, and he's like a top 3 back. Don't care. He's going to.
So we thought
10 to 12 points. He's going to be half his expectations this week.
Derrick Henry, which Chisholm and I both picked.
Woo!
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to throw it out here, and this might be aggregated for all the big news sources out there. Joe Mixon was cooked in Cincinnati last year.
Yeah, he was. He sucked.
He was completely terrible. All his advanced measures say that guy was absolutely garbage. And now he's running like a 22-year-old. Sir, pee in a cup. I'm just saying.
Pee in a cup, sir.
None of this is making any sense.
Pee in a cup, sir.
Pee in the cup, bro. There it is.
That may be why he hits his unders, because he has to pee in a cup finally.
That's right.
All right, so where are we at right now? I came into some chaos theory here.
We're on to picks. We're on to picks. We really want to hear Dex's picks next.
Oh, well, since you're already in a mocking mode, let's get after it. So we already know where it's going, do we? Yeah, I'm betting against him again. Caleb Williams. I'm taking the Vikings minus 3.5. Minus 3.5 at Chicago because there's no way they do it twice. And
here's the knife, Dex. I thought I was going to predict your pick. I predicted your pick, and I was wrong. The knife is just like, blood is spurting out right now.
Because their Vikings are not overrated. They have a great defense. They just
it was even easier. Oh my God, I'm the worst.
Average.
I'm the worst. I so should have nailed this. Yeah,
you had an easy. There was an
easiest ever. Why did
it was a freebie, Lou. It was a freebie.
Softball.
I mean, it was sitting right in front of you.
It was the easiest of the easy. It was the most Dexter Homery crazy ass pick I ever saw.
But Minnesota's winning right now, baby.
Oh my God! Woo-hoo! Oh my God! I said you would take the Lions.
I don't want the stupid Lions this week. I think they're gonna lose. Oh my God!
I was thinking, what public ass dumbass pick could you take?
I took this dumbass pick. I took the Vikings dumbass pick.
And you took the one that I couldn't even have possibly imagined the most Dexter pick of all time.
So you really think Caleb Williams is gonna do it again? He might. I might go over 5 against Caleb Williams this season.
In fact, Dex, this is one of the ones that I'm probably going to fade you. I am not.
I love the Chicago Bears. They've shown a lot this last month and a half. I think they have the best rookie quarterback in the draft. They suck. They freaking suck. The Bears are dog balls crap. And they're going to lose. And they're going to lose by 4 or more. Because Minnesota's going to come out and truck them.
I'm laddering Chicago at this point, like absolutely laddering the hell out of Chicago. This is so lock money.
All right, Shrewdness listeners,
if you want
Lewis buys in regularly.
Money. If you want to print money,
that's a low blow.
You fade this pick. But yeah, I'm not vetoing it. Go for it, Dex. You're fine.
I got it. So looks like we have full support from the Shrewdness on this one. Minnesota minus 3.5. Who's up next?
Welcome to the show, Dex.
It's good to be here.
Wow.
Chiz, go ahead.
Feel the love.
Who you got?
All right. I'm going.
God, I failed that, and I failed it on so many levels.
I'm going with a pick that I don't know. I feel a little odd doing this, but I feel like it's right. I've been more successful whenever I tend to go the opposite on these picks, but I really, really, really like Philly minus 2.5 at LA. So
we got to go over these before we get.
Oh, that's just terrible! What a terrible ass pick! Oh, Philly! Oh, Philly specials, tush pushes. Ah.
The Eagles,
I think Philly's turned the corner. I agree with you completely.
It's such a public pick, but when Chisholm does it, I love it. I love Philly. They've always been great. They're my favorite team.
The Eagles, they have actually. I was a hater on Philly early in the year. I made a lot of bets against Philly early in the year. I actually think they've somewhat figured it out, to what Lewis said. I don't think they're a juggernaut. I don't think they're as good as what they have been in the past, and I still see them losing in the playoffs. But I don't think the Rams have it. They haven't. Kyren Williams has looked human again in the last few weeks. He's not scoring like he had been. I think they're going to become really reliant on the pass. That's not a good thing. And I don't think they're going to be able to stop. I don't think the Rams are going to be able to stop the run at all, and I think that's going to be the downfall of them. So a field goal feels pretty small, and I like minus 2.5. Lock it up.
Lock it up.
All right. So here's my thing, and I went over it with Pruitt earlier, and I'm going to bring it up here. Are you guys aware of what the Giants' most recent roster move was?
Yeah, they got Tommy DeVito coming into play for Daniel Jones.
No,
that
is not their most recent roster move.
It was yesterday.
They have something more insane. They just signed Tim Boyle to their practice squad.
Barf.
What?
Why?
Great question.
Exactly.
I thought they had
anybody
Drew
who
Lock.
signs a 30-year-old Tim Boyle to their practice squad for literally any reason is doing what?
Losing. Getting draft picks.
Exactly. They are actively pursuing draft picks.
Why are they not starting Drew
Yeah.
Lock?
Honestly,
Is he not on the Giants anymore?
He is. He's the backup.
He's good.
And then Daniel Jones is kind of like some weird, not really there guy, just kind of taking up a spot.
Huh.
But anybody who signs Tim Boyle has literally put up the white flag. And so I will take Buccaneers minus because something is fishy with that move. And I think they are cultivating draft pick move at this point.
Yeah, the fact that they're not starting Locke is very fishy as well.
That's super fishy.
I think they are actively trying to lose, and I will take the Buccaneers minus because I think they're trying to lose games at this point, and they have given Brian Dable the you're good, dude.
We got
fine.
you.
We get it. Oh no, don't lose. It's okay to lose.
Yeah.
So I absolutely Buccaneers minus is my pick that is a small but big move between the two things. DeVito and Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle is like a human white flag. So I'm done.
Is super. That means they have 4 quarterbacks.
No, they have 3 quarterbacks and a literal dead space on their roster that they will not play for any reason.
Which one's the dead space? Daniel Jones or Tim Boyle?
Yes. No, Daniel Jones is a dead space. He literally can't get in the game. Here's the deal. They can't play him. They can't.
I feel like they have.
They should just run him.
I feel like they have.
No. They can't play him.
Oh, the injury thing. Yeah.
Yes, if they play him and he gets injured, they owe him like $30 million.
Yeah, he's got Affleck and all that crap.
He is a literal dead space on their roster who they're never going to play because then they can cut him at the end of the year and save $30 million. Dude is absolutely dead space, but they can't get rid of him.
Weird.
Promise you.
I think that they have multiple dead spaces on that. I don't think it's just one.
They are actively trying to get. They thought if they won that game last week, they lost to the worst team in the league, and it probably wasn't as close as it looked.
Right.
That was horrible. This is not for brainiacs. Tampa Bay minus, and I don't think it's going to be close. And
what's the minus?
Mike Evans might play. It's like -5.5. It's not even that bad.
No. Wow.
All right.
Let's hope we get good. Let's hope we get.
I get you. It's a relatively public pick, but I think it is a more organizational.
So basic.
I don't think the Giants are going to try to win, and they're going to actively throw the game. You're going to see some. Let's hope we
get.
You're going to see water boys throw Gatorade.
I'm going to ladder the Giants like nobody's business. Ladder. DeVito.
I might ladder the Bucks, which means Shrewdness listeners just absolutely hammer the Giants. I get it, but
money lines up to plus. Hell, -8. Let's go. All right, Padog.
All right, we have some differences of opinion. That's fine.
Yeah.
Was he going for Giants?
No.
I'm just.
Oh Lord.
Between you two.
Yeah, we're just talking smack.
It's not a difference of opinion. I totally should have picked the freaking Vikes this week. That was dumb. That was
dumb. You missed a freebie. I'm taking a freebie.
Super freebie, man.
So Chisholm and I were totally on the same wavelength tonight. We had the same sleeper.
Yeah, we were.
The same bet. I'm shifting gears here. I'm taking Denver -5.5 over Vegas. There's two games that I like. Okay, Miami -7 is a pick you could possibly go to, but my go-to for this week, Denver -5.5 at Las Vegas. I was looking at the Vegas games this year. They've lost all games except one by 7 points or more. They've won 2 games, I think it was, and they won those barely. And all of their losses have been by 5 points and then greater than 7 points.
Sounds like somebody doesn't believe in Minshew magic.
No more Minshew magic?
no veto, but I'm just going to throw out that looks like a rat line of all rat lines. Something weird is going on.
And Lewis has been hitting his bets all season. So when he calls out,
that should be a 10-point line in all reality. The Broncos just housed somebody. They played with the Chiefs. They look like a real playoff team, and the Raiders looked like the biggest garbage-ass team I've ever seen.
Division game.
So
Division.
Cool.
At Las Vegas.
But that's not how they set lines. They set lines usually. I don't see that. Like I agree with that. It's a reasonable pick, but man, that looks like a rat line. It's which is the line that just doesn't make sense, and like I feel like something weird's going on. I just want to everybody be cautious. You can take that. It's totally fine. I'm worried about a rat line.
Kind of like that Green Bay Chicago 5.5 last week that didn't work out. Denver's probably going to win by a point on a blocked field goal. But,
It could happen. Right. They've looked pretty solid. Vegas has lost by a ton when they lose. I like my chances.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Again, I thought the Cowboys were going to be kind of an interesting play, and I was totally wrong last week.
So I think we have 4 picks. You can almost guarantee we'll go 2-2. And
but the tease is going to hit.
I'm sorry, Chisholm, can you re-say that in Spanish, just so we make sure that you're culturally where you are and what's going on? So
the tease is going to hit. The tease is going to hit. So
just do that teaser, 7-point teaser, so you get Minnesota plus 3.5. You got to make sure when you lose by a field goal, you still hit the tease. So do a 7-point teaser this week, Shrewdness.
Yeah, tease it up. Tease it up.
We've been, pretty consistently 2-2.
Bet responsibly. We are not responsible if you make bad decisions and put your mortgage on any of our picks. We want to make sure that everybody's aware. We're still looking for that FanDuel sponsorship, so we're good.
Yeah, that's right. But 1-800-GAMBLING.
Responsible gaming. Go to responsiblegaming.shrewdness.ag.com.org and do all of the things and know all of your limits.
So out of our 11 weeks, we've gone 2-2 6 times.
We are awesome at being average.
We are absolutely guaranteed to lose you money on the vig.
Except when we don't. Hit your teasers.
Right. That's right.
Hit a teaser. If you only hit one a year of your parlays, you're paying
We're basically making you money by listening to this podcast at this point.
Without a doubt.
It's like free money.
Like when you're on your yacht this summer, just say, man, thank you, Shrewdness.
Totally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And throw us an invite.
Shrewdness.
Yeah. Throw us an invite for the party.
Hey, any thoughts on the Thursday night game? Let's do it around. Predictions. Thursday night game early. Let's do it.
What?
Oh, and what are you talking about? You're throwing a loop.
Let's
Thursday
do it.
Night
we got it right now.
Pittsburgh at Cleveland.
Yeah. Pitt minus 3.5.
I'm going to take the over. I think they are going to outscore the 36 whatever low total.
I'm taking Cleveland plus. Yes,
Cleveland
I said
plus
it.
3.5.
Jameis is going to do it, huh? Jameis throw to everybody and anybody. Winston.
This is a classic. This is a classic rat line, as Lou would say. This is a classic rat line. Everyone's like, the Browns are absolute trash.
Which is
Pittsburgh
true.
is the greatest team ever. They're going on the road. It's a short week. It's in division, and it's going to be closer than they like. I'm not saying that necessarily Cleveland wins, but I like them within a field goal.
Yeah, and especially we know Pittsburgh can only kick field goals.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got. I'm going to take Judy 50 plus at plus 108.
Wait. Are we going into our?
We're going all in.
Parlay?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Hey, look, today's Tuesday, so might as well get them in right now. I'm going to take my prop bet right now. No problem.
Let me get in here. I got.
I wasn't ready for parlays.
I love my Judy plus 108, 50 yards plus.
I need my. Where's my Winston throws a pick? It's probably like minus 200, and it's probably not even going to be a good.
That's not even.
I'm going to look it up real quick though, and I'm going to let you know what it is because that's where I'm at.
That's not even making money, man.
Because I love him throwing picks.
Like that's
Pittsburgh
That's a
Steelers
gimme.
at Jameis Winston. He minus 198.
God.
Throws a
James
pick.
Winston.
Brutally.
James Winston.
It's like a sure thing.
Was a interception.
All right, that's too easy. All right.
Yeah. Well, minus 198 is not good money.
I know. That's why I'm going to take something. I got to take something else. Yeah, if you got one ready to go ahead. I'm going to dig one up.
Wait, okay, so now Pruitt and I got to make picks because we're talking about something different.
Yeah, Chisholm, make a pick for me since you're going to steal it.
I think making our picks for the pod instead of throwing them out randomly in the socials that people don't necessarily get.
They should be getting
It's not
like, following, and subscribing.
I got to say, I hate to break it to the Shrewdness listeners, we're probably not going to be on Blue Sky. All right? It's just we're old. No. It's a new technology.
Get off my lawn!
It scares us.
Get off my lawn.
Scares us.
Right.
So you might not get some of our socials, which is totally fine. But the regular Shrewdness listeners might listen to the podcast and get our projections now.
Right. That's right. But follow us on socials because some of us spend a lot of time getting stuff on socials.
That's right.
So make
clip.
sure you
mark
follow
that clip.
us. Follow us, like us, all that good stuff.
Najee Harris over 66.5 against the 24th ranked rush defense on a short week where they're going to be tired. Najee's feeling good because he didn't even have to do he had a tough game, but they got Jalen Warren, so I think he's going to feel good, and they're going to bash.
Fair. I like it.
Najee, 66.5 over.
I liked Jerry Jeudy over plus 50 yards plus 108.
Okay.
Perfect. That's exactly where I feel like Jerry Jeudy's going to hit.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And it's a like not crazy number, but it's slightly plus money.
Jameis is going to be throwing.
Yeah, they're going to be behind. Like I feel
maybe.
pretty good about that. And Jeudy looked like a million times better than Broncos Jeudy last week.
They're going to be behind by 3 the whole game.
That's exactly it. Field goal.
Yeah.
Field
3,
goal.
6,
Field goal.
9, or 12.
I mean, their last game in November was 13-10
Would you like
Cleveland.
to play a game minus 3, 6, 9, or 12?
I'm pretty sure it was Joe Flacco when he took over last year, right? And that's when he started. And
Again,
won
more
13-10.
War Games references for those who care. It was all there.
Goodness gracious. Matthew Broderick, leave us alone. All right.
Matthew Broderick was an actor back in the day. Those who may have seen The Lion King, he was the voice of adult Simba.
Oh, God.
Huh. I did not even realize that.
See, I got all kinds of trivia. All right?
Would I like to play a game? Yes. And I want Pruitt and Chisholm to pick. We got Jeudy over, Najee over.
It
Such
takes
a
a long
wonderful
time.
Go ahead and
pick.
find your unders because you guys love unders. Just go find
Ain't
an
takes a
no
long
under.
time to-
passing pick. It
Can I just-
means no picks for the rest
watch
of
me
the
mute Lewis.
day.
How we do that?
I can mute him.
Oh,
I think.
God. I'm going with Russell Wilson over 26.5 pass attempts.
Over
What?
26
I'll take it.
Pass
Ooh.
attempt.
I ain't gonna hate the unders because of stupid.
Hang on.
Concussion.
I don't always
Pass
hate the unders.
attempts.
I've done quite a few unders. I just don't like
said
it when it's
over?
like key people.
Over pass attempts?
Over
pass
26.5.
Ain't no under
Pass
on Turd Ferguson.
And he's got.
He would have gotten like 8
just so
catches.
you guys know.
Oh, absolutely.
last-
they were absolutely keying on him.
The last
I
I
three
was
was
going
games,
to.
last 3 games he's gone over 26 pass attempts, and I think this game's going to be closer and require him to throw more.
I think you're probably right. All right.
And you have to remember, 14 of those are going to be directly out of bounds.
Doesn't matter
That's
where they go.
right.
Exactly.
That's why I didn't notice. That's why I didn't.
That
take
dude
him.
has been the master of the hit the first guy in the front row.
Yeah.
I like-
He's the
Every
opposite.
time he gets kind of flustered, he's like, "Yoo!" That ball goes
Yes.
off
He
in
is
the
the
middle of nowhere.
polar opposite of Jared Goff, who they keep touting as last 7 games he has more touchdowns and incompletions. Russell Wilson's like,
Right.
well, that is ridiculous. Why would you do
Right.
that? The front row
Right.
needs
See
souvenirs
how
too.
open the guy in C4 is.
Because you would know.
I like Pat Fryermuth 3+ receptions. And I'm only partially kidding.
Is that really your bet?
I think it might be.
Okay,
all right.
My dog is super upset about that pick. My dog lost my dog's collective S over that pick. Look at this.
Fryermuth.
It was like my dog was like totally fine pick, totally fine pick, totally fine pick.
And then
Pruitt's pick.
And the dog went ape
absolutely insane.
Maybe she really likes
the Pruitt the shrewdness. Come on, man. Cherry the shrewdness.
So wait,
okay.
That's Cookie Jr. says this is a dog ass pick and showed you a dog ass right when you made it.
So Fryermuth, I had Fryermuth as a 2.5. I think is it?
It is. He's doing.
This is a. Yeah. Well, yeah. 3+ receptions is a +128.
Yeah. All right.
3. Okay. 3+. 3 or plus, right?
And he'll be concussed.
Yeah. Over 2.5 is the same as 3. Might as well take the 3.
Because Fryermuth has had a wonderful injury history of not going out.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And all those incompletions from Russell, one of those incompletions is going to be towards Fryermuth. At least 3.
Right.
That's all good. Right. I like it, Prue. Don't listen to that dog. Don't listen to Lewis's dog about your picks. That dog don't know shizgabob. Sometimes we use our words. Sometimes we use them well.
Mark Clip.
Mark all the clips.
Ooh, man, I'm seriously now I'm thinking Russell Wilson under 10.5 yards.
Mark all the clips.
Under 10.5 what?
Which is totally fine. My dog is totally fine with what you're saying right now. Look at her.
What just happened to? Did you change your pick?
No, I like my pick. I'm just saying other stuff.
Exactly. Okay. What was yours, Pruitt? What kind of crappy Fryermuth trips on his own dick in the first quarter?
That's it.
Yes, it's +223, Lou. Pat Fryermuth 3+ receptions.
Okay, so what are they again?
Jesus.
Jerry Jeudy, 50+ or whatever you can get around there.
Right.
In Bovada, I think you have to bet like half of X 0.243 Bitcoins to get
Bovada,
like
X
it's
23. It's over 23 meters.
Oh my!
But amazingly,
if it's a Jerry Jeudy 0-0 tie, we're fine, right? All right.
The cool thing about it, though, is I can bet whatever I want, and I can put them all together if I want. So
okay,
so you do yours. Yeah, put all yours
3+ receptions or over whatever you can get, and then Najee over 66.5, and then something crab legs something.
No, you said Jerry Jeudy,
Najee, Fryermuth, and Wilson.
I could do all these in one, so I think I'll do that.
Nice.
Must be nice making weird ass things.
It must be nice. It must.
Wow,
be
look,
nice.
it's +1,500. I'm getting paid 15 to 1 on this bet. Okay.
Or you're not getting paid because sure.
Or Russell's going to get injured in the first quarter and not be able to throw.
That's likely.
Yeah, we gotta get out of the first quarter of some of these things.
Well, if Lewis hadn't picked idiot head kid, who just walked over and sat down and concussed himself on the bench.
I don't even remember him getting hit.
Jason Kidd hasn't played in a long time, and I made no NBA picks whatsoever. But all of these things, you can go back to Turd Ferguson, and it was a terrible pick. I get it. You got to bet on someone's apparently not getting broken within the first 3 minutes.
We've had some non-existent tight ends our last few picks here.
Yeah.
We got it. We're trying to avoid tight ends.
But Pruitt went right back to that well.
Right back to the
They're going to hit.
Well.
There's a reason they're on the field, boys.
Over on the tight end. And here comes the concussion. It's coming hard and fast. Just Fryman's got this awesome like durability streak that he's got too, right? But that's cool. That's cool. Whatever. It's just money.
I mean, we're good with it.
More.
We're good with it. That's right. It's only money.
It's only money. I'm worth a bet,
So
right?
now on to our picks. So
No, let's end this thing. For God's sake. Yeah. Hour and 42 minutes in. We got about 12 minutes of content, I think. So
That's right.
Mark.
It's gold.
all right.
A lot of Patreon.
Thanks for.
I'm still upset with myself on this Vikings thing. That was like the biggest fail I've had in like a decade. Of like, this was the easiest layup.
And it's going against my least favorite player in the NFL, Caleb
Yeah.
Derpy Williams.
It's all coming together.
So laddering the Bears right now. Like, I can't even tell you.
Ladder away.
So easy.
Ladder.
One of us is going to be very happy next week.
All right, I gotta. My battery's dying, so peace out, Shrewdness fans.
Thanks for joining us
Plug
here
in
on the
your
Shrewdness.
like whatever weird adapter you have from Mexico.
Lewis,
right?
let Perdog take us out.
Yeah.
And then we'll.
I'm gonna exercise my mute powers here soon.
He's identifying.
So long, Shrewdness listeners. Thanks for joining us this week. We one of these weeks we're gonna have just a hellacious kick-ass week where we hit all of our bets. It might be this week
because it totally shouldn't.
Because it totally shouldn't.
And we're gonna have some guests. We're gonna have some guests on soon.
I know.
Yep, we do have some guests lined up. That worked really well a few weeks ago. We need to do that more often, and we do have Scotty Morrison, among others, is going to join us here soon. So tune in next time for the Shrewdness Guillotine Fantasy Football podcast. For now, this is the Shrewdness signing off.